My dear woman, I've tried to quiet the storm in my chest, tried to smile through days that felt empty without your voice. But this silence, it's too loud now. It says everything I couldn't. I'm not writing this to win you back or to make you feel guilty. I just need you to know, I meant every word I never said. You live in the pause between my breaths, in the moments I look strong but feel anything but. This is too important to ignore. So here it is, my heart, unhidden, unedited, undeniable. My dear woman, I've carried words inside me like fire beneath ice, burning quietly, waiting for the moment they could rise without shame. You may not know it, or maybe you do, and just never said, but you've lived in every corner of my silence. Not a day has passed where I haven't rewritten memories in my mind, trying to make them end differently. This isn't just about love. It's about the truth I was too proud, too afraid to share. It's about the weight I've carried from all the things I never said when I should have spoken. I miss you. Not the easy kind of missing, not the kind that fades with time. I miss you in the pauses between my thoughts. I miss you in the empty spaces where your name still echoes. I've learned something. To feel deeply is not weakness. To speak your heart is not surrender. So here I am, not hoping, not asking, just telling, because this is too important to ignore. If I'm nothing else in your life, let me be remembered as the man who wasn't afraid to be honest, my dear woman. I've sat with the weight of your absence like a stone in my chest, not heavy enough to crush me, but too deep to ignore. Time has moved forward, but I've stayed behind in the places where your laughter once lived, where your silence began to speak louder than your words. I kept waiting for the right moment, for the courage, for the clarity. But all I found was more silence, more questions, more versions of myself that you never got to meet. And maybe it's too late. Maybe life has taken you somewhere I can't follow. But I still owe you this truth, not because I expect anything in return, but because pretending I'm fine feels like lying to both of us. You deserve more honesty, more presence, more of me, not just in pieces, but whole. If I could go back, I wouldn't change what we were. I'd change how brave I was. I'd hold your hand tighter. I'd tell you what I felt, not after you walked away, but in the moments when it mattered. Now all I have are echoes of your name, of your silence, of a story that never got to finish. But if this message reaches you somehow in words, in memory, in dreams, know this. You were never just passing time in my life. You were the reason I started to look deeper. And even now, with nothing left but honesty, you are still too important to ignore. My dear woman, there's so much I never said because I thought silence would protect us. But silence is a slow unraveling, a quiet thief of closeness. Now here I am, left with a voice full of everything I swallowed. If only you knew how many times I almost reached for my phone, not to fix things, but just to say your name out loud. Because some names carry peace, and yours was always mine. I've watched the world move on around me, while a part of me stayed still, still back where your hand last brushed mine, still there in the final look we both pretended meant nothing. I didn't lose you all at once. I lost you in stages, when I chose pride over presence, when I let fear rewrite what love had started. And now I see love for what it really is. The courage to show your heart even when it might be misunderstood. The strength to say, this matters too much to stay quiet. I won't dress this up with poetry. I won't pretend I was always right. I'll just say it plain. I loved you. Still do, in quieter ways. In ways that no longer ask to be returned, but still hope to be remembered kindly. This isn't a plea. It's a release. A way to give my truth its voice before the silence becomes permanent. So if you hear this, if these words find you in a quiet hour, know this. You changed me. You softened the hardest parts. And even if we never speak again, you are the one I will always thank for teaching me what it means to feel deeply and speak honestly. My dear woman, if you're reading this in your heart, not through your ears, not through your eyes, then you already know I never truly left. Parts of me stayed in the quiet between your breaths, in the places where you still paused before saying my name out loud. I've rehearsed this 1,000 times. What I'd say if you were right here, close enough to hear my heartbeat instead of just my words. But truth doesn't wait for perfect timing. It arrives in stillness, in a moment when there's nothing left to lose except the pain of not saying it at all. So here it is. I loved you in ways I didn't understand at the time. Not because it was easy, but because you made everything else in the world feel smaller. You were the mirror I couldn't look away from, even when it showed me the things I needed to change, and I failed you. Not because I didn't care, but because I didn't know how to show it without letting you all the way in. I was afraid of love that deep, of needing someone like that, of how much power you had to hurt me, and how much I wanted to trust you not to. So I pulled away and told myself I was protecting us. But silence can become a wall. And eventually you stopped knocking. Now I sit with the ache of everything unsaid and the beauty of everything we were. And I won't pretend it was nothing. It was everything. Even now it is. But I don't want to rewrite our ending. I just want you to know, with no conditions, no expectations, that you were loved by someone who still carries your name like a quiet prayer in the back of his heart. You were and always will be too important to ignore. My dear woman, there's a confession I carry like a secret too heavy to hold and too light to share. It lives between the spaces in my chest where words are trapped and where time has never truly passed. I see you in everything. In the quiet moments when the world fades, in the noise when I wish for peace, in the smallest things I never said. I should have told you how much your presence meant, how your voice was the calm in the storm of my own thoughts. But silence has a way of growing, turning into a story that doesn't match the truth. And I let it. I let it build until words became too hard to find. There were times I didn't know what to say, and others when I thought silence would make it easier. But silence has a way of making the heart ache louder. It doesn't let go, doesn't fade away until you speak what you buried. So here it is, the confession I could never share. I was afraid. Afraid of how deeply I cared. I cared. Afraid of how easily I could lose you, even though I held you so tightly in my heart. Afraid that love might be too big, too overwhelming, too much to handle. I thought I could protect us by holding back, by staying just far enough that you wouldn't see my fear. But it only built a distance between us that neither of us could cross. You were never just someone I loved. You were the space I needed to breathe, the answer I kept looking for in the wrong places. And I lost you, not because you walked away, but because I let fear decide my silence. I wish I could rewrite it. I wish I could undo the mistakes I made, could show you all the things I left unsaid. But some things don't get the chance to be fixed, and all I have now are these words. Words I should have spoken when you were here to hear them. I can't change the past. I can't rewrite what we were. But I can say this. I loved you in a way I couldn't understand. And even now, even from this distance, I still do. And if you ever find yourself wondering what could have been, know this. What we had was never small. It was everything. And even if we never cross paths again, you will always be too important to forget. My dear woman, there are things that weigh more than silence. Things that sit heavy on the chest, waiting for the courage to be freed. Freed. But words are not always simple, and sometimes the heart is too full to find the right ones. I have carried my love for you like a secret, hidden in the places where no one could reach, where even you couldn't see it. Not because I didn't want you to know, but because I was afraid of how it might change everything. I see now how much I let silence speak louder than love. How many times I stayed quiet when all I needed was to say, I care for you. How many times I let fear write the story of us instead of the truth, never asked for more than I could give. But in my silence, I gave less than you deserved. I told myself that time would fix it, that distance would ease the weight of these feelings. But time only made the gap wider, and distance didn't heal the ache of my regret. I've realized now that love isn't just about the grand gestures. It's not the moments we choose to shout or the days we wear our hearts on our sleeves. Sometimes love is just in the quiet moments, the soft touch, the words you never said, the truth you kept locked inside. If I had known how to say it, I would have told you every day how I felt when you smiled, how I longed for the sound of your voice, how the weight of my own hesitation hurt more than I could bear. But here I am with nothing but these words, a voice that comes too late. And maybe that's all I'll ever have, these moments where I admit that I loved you, but never knew how to show it. I want you to know, even if these words don't reach you, even if they are lost in the spaces between us, you were never an afterthought. You were always the center, the quiet anchor to a heart that didn't know how to be still. And now with everything unsaid sitting heavy in my chest, I release it to you. Not as a plea, not as a plea, not as a call to change the past, but as a truth I should have shared long ago. You were too important to ignore. Even if I failed to show you, even if I never gave you the words you deserved, you mattered. And I will carry this truth quietly in the places where I once kept my silence. My dear woman, I've spent countless nights trying to find the words to explain this love I carried in silence. This love that I kept tucked away as though it might break something if spoken. But love isn't meant to be contained. It's not meant to hide in corners or slip through cracks. It's meant to be shared, meant to fill the air between us with warmth, with truth, with a connection that doesn't fade. I never gave you that. I gave you my presence without my voice, my touch without my heart, and I thought it was enough. But silence was never enough, and now I see the distance it created. I remember the quiet moments, the ones when I should have said more, should have told you what was inside me, but instead, I chose to remain still. And you stayed silent too, but I wonder now, was it because you were waiting for me, or because you knew there was nothing left to say? I don't know where it went wrong. I don't know if it was something we both did, or if it was the silence between us that built its own walls. But I can feel the space now, the distance that wasn't there before, the quiet that has settled into everything. I wish I had told you. I wish I had let the words come freely. Let the love I felt spill over without fear. I wish I hadn't let pride hold me back, or let my insecurity stop me from being real. That thread that ties me to you even if we never speak again. That thread that reminds me that I never stopped caring, that I never stopped loving you in ways I couldn't always say. And so I write this now, not because I expect anything from you, but because it's the truth I've kept inside for too long. You were never a passing moment, never a fleeting dream. You were a part of me, and still are, in the spaces between everything. If you hear this, if these words find their way to you, just know that even though I never said it, even though I never showed it, you were loved. And maybe that's all I'll ever have the chance to tell you. But it's the only thing that matters now. That you were loved in a way words could never capture, and you will always be too important to ignore. My dear woman, I never knew how heavy silence could be until it became the space between us. Until I found myself searching for words that never came, and for meaning in the gaps we left in each other's lives. We always thought we had time to fix what was broken, time to say what we should have said. But time is never as kind as we expect it to be. It slips through our fingers, and we're left with the moments we let pass by unspoken. There's a part of me that wishes I could turn back to the times when everything felt so simple, when we both laughed, when your hand in mine felt like home, when I thought I could never lose you. But somewhere in that comfort, I stopped being honest with you. I stopped sharing parts of myself that were too hard to say out loud. I kept waiting for the right moment, for the right time to tell you everything. But the right moment never comes. And the things I left unsaid are the weight I now carry. You were never just a chapter in my life. You were the thread that tied everything together, even when I couldn't see it. And now, without you, there are pieces of me that don't fit anymore. Parts of my heart that ache for what we were and for what we never got the chance to become. I've spent too many nights replaying the things I should have said, the moments I should have held you closer, the words I should have let out, instead of keeping them locked in a place that only hurt me. And maybe it's too late now. Maybe all that's left is the memory of us, the quiet after the storm, the gentle ache that lingers in the spaces where your name used to fit so perfectly. But even in the silence, I know this, you were more than just a passing moment. You were the part of me that I never knew I needed, and you still are in the quiet places where I think of you. So, here I am, writing the words I should have said long before the silence grew too loud. I loved you, I still do, in the places that time can't reach. And you will always be too important to forget, too important to ignore. My dear woman, there's a quiet truth I've carried with me, hidden beneath the weight of words I never spoke. For all the times I thought silence would save us, I now know it's only ever been a thief. A thief that stole the moments we could have had, the love we could have shared, and the trust we could have built. But silence is an illusion, a way to pretend that things are fine when everything inside you is falling apart. I thought I was protecting us by keeping my distance, by letting the world around us drown out the things I couldn't say. In the end, it was only me I was protecting, not you, not us. I know now that love isn't meant to be quiet. It's not meant to hide behind walls or to be lost in the spaces between two people who are afraid to truly see each other. And for that, I'm sorry. Sorry that I held back. Sorry that I let pride win when my heart was screaming to let you in. But I can't change the past. I can't rewrite the things I should have said when you were standing right in front of me, waiting for me to finally let go of my fear. I should have told you then, with every breath, with every heartbeat, how much you meant to me, how much I loved me, how much I loved you. Instead, I waited. I waited for the right moment, the right words, but those moments never came. And now all that remains are the echoes of a love that never fully had the chance to breathe. I never asked for your forgiveness, never asked for you to understand. I just wanted you to know, in the way that only truth can be known, that I loved you, that I still do. And even though our paths may have diverged, the love I carried for you has never truly left. It's in the quiet I sit with now, in the spaces between my thoughts, where you still live, even if you are far away. It's in the memory of your smile, the sound of your laughter, the way your presence felt like home. This love will always be with me, even if I never speak it again. And if by some chance you ever hear this, hear the words I should have said long ago. Know this, you were too important to ignore. Not just in the moments we shared, but in everything you gave me without ever knowing it. You are still too important, too real,